The motion is agreed to. The Senator from Delaware.
Madam President,
Senator from Delaware.
if we have order, please.
The Senate will be in order.
Thank you. Earlier today, I quoted Churchill actually a couple of times, and one of my favorite Churchill quotes is, he's asked when he's being thrown out of office at the end of World War II, he's asked by reporters outside of 10 Downing Street, Mr. Churchill, for you, is this the end? And he said, this is not the end. This is not the beginning of the end. He said, this is the end of the beginning. And while we're grateful to everybody who voted for cloture, it is not the end.
Hey guys, this is Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. How's everyone doing today? Tommy Nation Politics. Hi guys, this is Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. How's everyone doing today? Good? Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share my videos, and make sure that you hit the notifications bell whenever you want to get notifications on upcoming independent progressive news media. Free thinking, innovative, totally this is a revolution, as Bernie Sanders put it so eloquently in the last primaries of 2020. So with that said, if you feel like donating to a special and meaningful cause, you can always reach out and Cash App or PayPal Tommy Nation Politics. Capital T, capital N, capital P. One word. Free thinking, innovative, totally open-minded, Tommy Nation Politics. Well, we have some developments on the infrastructure discussion that have been commonplace among the Washington parasites and thieves. It seems that Mitch McConnell is aware of the lies and deceit flowing from the mouth of Joseph Elizabeth Biden. Well, the Democratic leadership and president suspect and expect two separate bills pertaining to infrastructure, which Mitch McConnell is aware of and utilizing all the roadblocks he can summon.
Well, as the leader pointed out, we've got a bipartisan bill in front of us that's been negotiated for some time by a number of members on both sides of the aisle. But for most of our members, the first time they've seen it was Sunday night, really Monday morning, and it's more than 2,700 pages long, which somebody has pointed out is twice the size of the Bible. And in typical highway bill debates that I've been associated with through the years, it takes about 3 weeks to move a highway reauthorization across the floor. And in those cases, you've had a lot of committee input. It's gone through regular order. You've had at least 3 committees that have vetted it, and a lot of the members of those committees have had opportunities to offer amendments. That hasn't been the case here. And so I would echo what the leader said about ensuring that we have a robust amendment process, that members on both sides who were not a part of that gang of 20 get a chance to have their voices heard in this process and stay away from any artificial deadlines. I think you ought to let this process and this play out. We're talking about a huge, huge amount of money here, over $1 trillion or around $1 trillion, depending on whose numbers you use.
But only subverting the Biden administration in the shadows. Although his influence is manifested through the Democratic Party Dixiecrat Blue Donks, every independent progressive journalist such as myself can smell and see the turtles work. House Democratic moderates threaten Pelosi's strategy and demand immediate vote on infrastructure bill. This was Friday. 9 Democratic House moderates are threatening to withhold their support for their party's must-pass budget resolution until Speaker Nancy Pelosi changes course and instead allows their chamber to first vote on the $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure plan that the Senate approved this week. The threat outlined in a letter, apparently according to CNN, plans to put in jeopardy the advanced budget resolution later this month, since she can only afford to lose 3 votes from her caucus. The chamber that they narrowly control, which is both of them really, needs to consider voting for that budget resolution if they want to get this must-pass resolution or must-pass legislation passed on the approved time before the midterms. The budget resolution is essential in acting President Joe Biden's agenda, apparently. Who knew that the establishment Democrats were going to be the ones threatening and resisting President Joe Biden's agenda, guys? Both chambers are allowed to advance a sweeping economic package worth $3.5 trillion through a process that could be approved along straight party lines. It cannot be filibustered in the Senate. Let's just get that straight. But Pelosi for weeks has made clear that the consequences within her caucus was to hold up the infrastructure bill.
Yeah, I said, we'll go to infrastructure?
Yes, please, on infrastructure. Obviously, there's this two-track plan here.
Right.
Bipartisan plan, they're gonna go on to the White House shortly, reconciliation package.
2025.
Obviously, the bipartisan plan is not done yet, that's not been socialized completely over on the House side yet. But the question is, do you think that a bipartisan plan faces problems in the House because of narrow majority? And that's why, more of your members would prefer this bigger bill, something that gets into some of these other areas that aren't the steels and bridges and roads infrastructure, other types of infrastructure, as you might say.
Well, let me just say that I associate myself with what the president has put forth to build back better. What the Republicans, what this bipartisan bill is more of traditional infrastructure, which is important, but we have to do more in terms of how we go into the future. So let me be really clear on this. We will not take up a bill in the House until the Senate passes the bipartisan bill and a reconciliation bill. If there is no bipartisan bill, then we'll just go when the Senate passes a reconciliation bill. But I'm hopeful that we would have the bipartisan bill. I think it would be really important to demonstrate the bipartisanship that has always been a hallmark of our infrastructure legislation. It's always been bipartisan. And less so when President Obama was president because the Republicans wanted to shrink the program. But nonetheless, it was a bipartisan bill. Some 11:45, we'll all be waiting to see what the announcement is, and then we'll go from there. But make sure you understand this. That when people say, well, I'm not going to vote for this unless I see that, there ain't going to be no.
Yeah, there ain't gonna be no.
Bipartisan bill unless we are going to have the reconciliation bill.
Until the Senate approves the larger Democratic-only bill, a move aimed at the pressuring and moderate Senate Democrats to back the massive package.
You can be in jail and get this job. You can be deranged and get this job. If you have a heart attack, they just let your wife start doing the job. All you need is a smile and a tie. I'd say you need a pulse, but dead people have been elected to Congress.
9 moderate Democrats threaten to derail Pelosi's infrastructure and budget plan. 9 moderate House Democrats warned Speaker Nancy Pelosi they won't vote for a budget resolution critical to passing Democrats' $3.5 trillion social policy package unless the House first passes a Senate-approved infrastructure bill, a move that threatens to derail the party's economic agenda. Some have suggested that we hold off on considering the Senate infrastructure bill for months until the reconciliation process is completed. We disagree, the lawmakers wrote Thursday in a letter to Pelosi. With the livelihoods of hard-working American families at stake, we simply can't afford months of unnecessary delays and risk squandering this once-in-a-century, bipartisan infrastructure package. It's time to get shovels in the ground and people to work. The letter is signed by Reps. Josh Gottheimer of New Jersey, Carolyn Bordeaux of Georgia, Philemon Vila of Texas, Jared Golden of Maine, Henry Cuellar of Texas, Vicente Gonzalez of Texas, Ed Case of Hawaii, Jim Costa of California, and Kurt Schrader of Oregon. The House is scheduled to return the week of August 23rd to vote on the budget resolution. Senate committees are beginning work on crafting the legislative details to set up a vote this fall on the final package. The Biden administration and congressional Democrats have been focused on a two-track effort to pass both the $1 trillion bipartisan legislation aimed at traditional infrastructure, along with a massive spending package with investments in child care, family leave and climate initiatives. Democrats plan to go it alone on the latter legislative package via a process known as reconciliation, which allows them to proceed without the threat of a Republican filibuster in the Senate. Pelosi has repeatedly said she intends to wait to bring up a vote on the infrastructure bill until the Senate approves the larger human infrastructure package. Because Democrats control the House by a narrow margin, Pelosi can afford to lose only 3 Democratic votes. Pelosi is standing firm in her position, telling members on a caucus call this week that she is not freelancing and that the 2-track solution is the consensus. The votes in the House and Senate depend on us having both bills, she said, according to a source familiar with the call. The letter from moderate lawmakers highlights the difficulties Pelosi faces in keeping her broad coalition united in achieving policy priorities. Progressive members fear their more moderate colleagues will pull their support for the $3.5 trillion social policy package if the infrastructure bill is already signed, and have warned they won't support the infrastructure bill until the Senate passes the reconciliation package. But some moderate members argue the social policy package isn't even guaranteed passage in the Senate, where all Democratic senators have to be on board for it to advance. Rev. Stephanie Murphy, DFLA, told NPR's Ailsa Chong on Thursday that she's called for an immediate vote on the Senate-passed infrastructure bill. The investment into our infrastructure is so critically important it needs to happen now, she said. And I am open to having a conversation about the reconciliation bill and what the contents of that will be. But it's really wrong to tie a bill that has been completed and passed in a bipartisan way out of the Senate with a bill that has just top-line numbers and no details.
Also, eases concerns that House progressives have about the $1.2 trillion not going far enough. Jeez Louise, not going far enough. As Bernie Sanders would say. On the other hand, has made it clear that she won't take up the bipartisan infrastructure bill until the Senate passes the larger, more sweeping infrastructure bill. So, we've got the budget resolution, and Nancy Pelosi saying, quote, "Let me be clear on this. We will not take up a bill in the House until the Senate passes the bipartisan bill and reconciliation bill. There ain't gonna be no bill." She said ain't, the House Speaker. So, she's got her cornrows out. She's got her fucking ebonics going. Catch me outside, how about that? Catch me outside, how about that? Won't have the infrastructure bill unless we have a reconciliation bill, plain and simple. In fact, she used the word ain't, guys. So unless we have the reconciliation bill passed by the United States Senate, Pelosi has already reiterated that she will not be a part of the $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure package. So the caucus would throw Pelosi's strategy into flux and underscore the complex balancing act that the White House and Democratic leadership must perform to keep this fragile coalition together.
I know more than most people know. And I can get things done. That's why I'm running.
This is what I'm talking about, guys.